Holy cow, look at these images. Whew. Double page spreads. What are you looking at?
John, I never look at the pictures. I just read the articles.
Oh, hey, I know, you know what? I know that one that you have. Hang on. You mean this one?
Oh, hold on. That's really crass of me to promote this lens work. Let me get a different lens workout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me hold on. Let me get a different one.
Look at these. Look at this. You folks on this you've probably seen these incredible images in all seriousness. Congratulations, bud. But I got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
In the beginning of this, it says that Cole Thompson has also been published in Lenswork number 81. Let's count 81, 102, 122, 127, 132, 147. And then this one would make just seven. And I've been telling the world that you've been published 9 times.
Well, I've had 9 portfolios, and the only thing I can figure is that the online ones aren't included in that list.
Nobody cares. Nobody reads the online ones.
Well, in the online world, John, there are no double page spreads.
That's true. Yeah,
There are
Charles.
none because
You know what?
nobody cares about double page spreads.
Nobody, as a matter of fact, if they hear that there are double page spreads, they don't even go look.
Yeah, that's
So how you been, bud?
oh my gosh, it's been a whirlwind.
You're back from Hawaii.
Back from Hawaii.
Yeah. Hey, and I understand you've had wind out there in Colorado, like the picture behind you.
Terrible, terrible winds. I mean,
Huh?
unbelievable winds. It was frightening for two
Yeah.
days.
Well, you lost some trees, right?
Yeah, lost 4 trees.
Well, good. It'll get you out and get some exercise cleaning that up.
Oh my gosh, there, John. I did one branch and it like filled my pickup.
Oh my
One branch,
gosh.
and I've got two
Wow.
30-foot trees. Yeah, I got a tree guy coming out to this afternoon.
Good. You're too old for this.
I am way too old for this.
Well, it's good to have you back, bud.
And you've been
So,
away. Been in the what? You were south.
yeah, we were down in Charleston, had a nice group. We battled a little bit of weather, but Charleston's such a beautiful town. And this Thursday we head down to the Smokies.
What do you photograph in Charleston? Is it like the old South? And
Well, yeah, so you have the live oaks down there with all that Spanish moss that are just absolutely gorgeous and beautiful archways of them at the plantations that we get to photograph. And the Magnolia Plantation is beautiful with all the azaleas in bloom. So lots of color. You would
wait,
love
wait, wait,
that.
wait. The Magnolia plantation has azaleas.
And magnolias too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And then the old city is fun to photograph down in the city. We go to Folly Beach and then the iconic trees out at Botany Bay that are in the water still, the old scraggy trees. And so it's a lot of very diverse, very diverse.
Are those the ones I've seen that there's a big expanse of water and they're out there pretty far out there?
No, that's probably Lake Moultrie. Some of those. Oh, and then you're also thinking about Caddo Lake down in Texas, I think.
That's the one. I seen that lately, and
Di-
it's pretty
yeah,
impressive.
different than this. These are more deciduous type trees that have just been left behind. I know.
I'm going to bet $1. You don't even know what a deciduous tree is.
Well, it's the opposite of an evergreen tree. An evergreen tree never loses its needles. A deciduous tree, the leaves fall and come back again. How's that, smart pants?
Thank you, Mr. Science.
Hey, I read a book once. Hey,
And
let's talk today about. I got to look at my notes here, our show notes, guys. We make show notes, folks. We take this very. Oh, hey, wait a minute. One thing. Thank you to our 800 subscribers.
well, shouldn't we like celebrate our 800th? Like maybe have a something we give them, a
I,
copy of Lens Work or something.
God, we probably have a lot of those. Nobody else wants them. We might as well give one away. Hey, we should figure out who that 800th person was and give them one.
Is
And
there a way
then,
to do that? Jason will know.
yeah, oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
got to be. Jason will tell us. Yeah, and he'll be the first one to make a comment on this show, which we love because we love Jason. All right, so today's discussion, I think is a good one. This idea of looking back at your earlier work and curious, have you done that and how do you feel about it? And then third to that, do you ever go back and then say, oh crap, I know how to process that so much better now. I'm gonna do that again. So I know I have some thoughts on that because, and I'll start real quickly because mine's brief.
I doubt that.
Yeah, now that's not
Give
nice.
everybody a minute to stop laughing.
Okay, I'm done. No, my wife forever would keep these two or three images in a frame, on the wall, and I would say, "Honey, I hate those photographs." She says, "Yeah, but they were great back when you made them." And I say, "I know, but I'm a lot smarter now, and they're horrible." But
Hmm.
she thought it was so important for me to keep that work to see where I had come from. And I'm like, no, I don't have any interest to show that work anymore. So certainly I've gone back and looked, and I've been frightened oft times by what I thought was worthy of being posted. So I'll start with that.
So I generally don't change work that I've done in the past. I did actually, there's one image, the windmill and moonlight, that I did. There was a part of the fog that was uneven. It wasn't symmetrical, and it had always bothered me. And I didn't really have the skills
Ah,
back then. And here in about a year ago, I did even out the fog. It
yeah.
just bothered me. Something probably no one else would have noticed or have been bothered by. But the important thing is that I noticed. It's kind of like when you make a mistake, you're painting a room and in some little corner there's a mistake. And every time you walk in the room, you look at that spot to see if you still notice it.
First thing you see.
But generally, I don't. And I would say that the images I created when I came back as a photographer following my vision in 2004, very few of them do I throw out and say, oh, by today's standards, I don't like that. I'm going to get rid of it. So probably not very much.
And I think that's an interesting point, Cole, because I would agree. When I was talking, I'm talking about real early, early work. When in all
Oh,
candor, I honestly didn't know enough to be proficient, probably, right?
here.
That was last year.
Oh, you're talking even further than back than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like beginning of 2023. It was no, but in all seriousness, but I would agree with you. If I started looking at work from, let's say, you said what, 2000 when, four?
2004 is when I found my vision. I
Yeah, probably for me about 2008-ish or so, when I started to feel like I was making images that were mine, that I wasn't looking through other people's viewfinders, that I was, really trying to focus on my vision and making images that were purely from my vision, then I think those I would not have that same reaction. I would go back and say, you know what, some of those are pretty good. I would probably also say, some of these were not as great, but I don't know if I would go back and change them at that point. That's an interesting thought. What would cause me? Yours is pretty interesting. Was that the one where you pulled over the side of the road? It was cold, and yeah, and it's a very
very
dark,
dark.
moody image. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know you had gone back and changed it.
And the other thing was it wasn't quite a full moon, and I did make it a full moon when I made that other fog change. It
Oh,
just
interesting.
it was like a little sliver of moon missing. Um, I work differently than you. I don't use Lightroom, so I just have a folder of my favorites, I call it. Those
Yeah,
are the images that I show. And I would say there's very few over the years that I've ever gone back and say, oh, I'm going to remove him from my show list. Then I have a secondary image list. He would go into there.
I see.
Yeah. So I very rarely would remove one.
Back to your changing of that one image, though, reminds me of our previous episode where you were talking about Weston and the toilet, you know, and the influence that he was receiving, yet standing by and honoring his vision. I think probably he had that same feeling you did, that he had to either make a change or not based on how he saw it. And that's what I heard you saying. You're right. I haven't noticed, and you've shown that image both iterations, but I think that's a valid point, that it doesn't matter what others people think. Again, we're back to that theme that we tend to harp on a lot. But hey, if you need to make that change, then go ahead and make that change.
I help people sometimes process an image. I don't do it for them. I say, what is it that you like, don't like? I go through the list of questions, and then I say, okay, what can you do about it? And then I'll help them if they don't know how to execute. And I'll see them focusing on something that I think is absolutely ridiculous. No one would notice. It doesn't matter. But then I think back to me
Yeah.
and having some little thing like another one, a little one that bothers me about the angel Gabriel. He's not exactly centered.
Huh.
And then, and every time I look at it, my eye goes to that, and I think, should I fix that? It's
Prop
silly.
one side. No, you shouldn't, because I have no clue that it's off center. Yeah.
But if something bothers you, what do you do about that? Because especially when we look back later, we usually have better skills and we might know how to fix it.
Yeah. That's kind of, in my mind, that's that part of the question. Do you go back and fix it? Generally, I think we're both in agreement. Probably generally not, I think is what we're saying. But is there, to wrap up here, is there value in going back and look at old work, even if you're not going to change it?
Well, I hear some people say they'll watch, say, a presentation on my black and white, and they say, I'm going to look back at old images and see what I can now, you know, create or salvage or however you want to say it. And a lot of people seem to do that. I tend not to. Once I'm done, I'm done. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just a mental thing. I'm done. Let's do something new. Short
So,
attention span.
so for this project where you have the cover of Lynn's work again for
But the cover, did you mention the
the
cover?
seventh time. Yeah, the seventh time. So once you're done, I mean, will you ever add images to this?
Yeah, because I'm still
Ah,
find drawn to those things. So
that's interesting. I did not realize that. I thought when a project was done, it's done. It's
it
so I
typically is, but
misunderstood.
like Harbinger and
Uh,
power lines, there's things that I just, if you see them, you're just like, wow.
So what will you do? Will you then how will you can't republish it in
I'll
Lenswork?
ask, I'll ask Brooks if he could reprint it just for me to add these two new images.
And you know what
Maybe,
he's gonna say?
maybe I'll ask him for a double page spread.
Yeah, you know what he's gonna say? No.
I'll add them to my website. I'll still
There
publish
you
my
go. Yeah.
newsletter.
All right. Well, it's good to have you back, bud.
Hey,
We'll see you in a couple of seconds.
okay.